Hello, this is Jay Mitchell, and we are back for another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. So first we have The Daily Show, Season 29, Episode 1, February 12th, 2024, full episode from ComedyCentral.com, and that's from Doctor Who 07. And I said, good to see Stewart hasn't gone full blue NPC like a lot of his media contemporaries. I remember the exchange he had with Colbert not too long ago in regards to COVID being a lab leak. With that being said, he definitely faces an uphill battle in regards to cultural relevance. Most leftist people have moved on to John Oliver and his show, and I think Stewart might have a hard time winning them back. Plus, Comedy Central is pretty much a dead network these days. Outside of The Daily Show and South Park, they only have two original programs still airing. Everything else is syndicated. So that's my thoughts there, I think people just want Jon Stewart to say Orange Man bad, but he also criticizes Biden as well, and that's not something that a lot of people like these days. They only want to hear criticism of one side, not the other. And that's why I don't think he's going to be as successful as he was in the 2000s. Then we have You Just Hate to See It from FlimsyOut5563, and that's a cross post from the Texas subreddit, and that's Senator John Cornyn replying to Kim Paxton, who tweeted, Ken, your criminal defense lawyers are calling to suggest you spend less time pushing Russian propaganda and more time for defending long-standing felony charges against you in Houston, as well as an ongoing federal jury proceedings in San Antonio that will probably result in further criminal charges. And I said, everything I don't like is Russian propaganda is the new everything I don't like is Hitler. Then we have breaking. The House has voted to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He is now the first cabinet secretary to be impeached since 1876. Vote passes 214 to 213, following a failed vote last week from Bill Malugan on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, good, but they should be abolishing the entire department instead. Then we have South Africa appeals to ICJ for additional measures due to the Israeli bombing campaign in Rafah, which threatens the lives of the 1.5 million refugees there who have most likely been displaced multiple times throughout the genocide. Israel is ignoring the existing ICJ's rulings, and that's from Aaron Silver One, a cross post from the Palestine subreddit. And I don't think that's good. I think we need to hold Israel accountable for that, and hopefully we can do so through not giving them any more taxpayer money from the U.S. and a voluntary boycott of Israeli businesses. Then we have r/Libertarian Uncensored discusses and grades the U.S. Vice President's number 45, Al Gore. And I said Bill Clinton's VP. Gore was a senator from Tennessee, just like his father was. Mostly promoted environmental issues and information technology as VP. During my service in the United States Congress, I took the initiative in creating the internet. Was an actual quote of his. Was also involved in the Chinagate scandal when he attended an event at a Buddhist temple in California that was funded by Chinese agents to help the Dems win elections. Sounds like the stuff they would accuse Russia of doing 20 years later. After his term as VP, Gore was famously the nominee of the Democratic Party for the 2000 U.S. post election, but lost in the squeaker despite winning the popular vote to George W. Bush, the governor of Texas. Afterwards, he became one of the nation's foremost climate change grifters with his film An Inconvenient Truth, final grade D+. And that's my thoughts on him. Then we have never forget that Redditors ratted out churches to the police during COVID and bragged about the effects on Reddit from Reddit Lies on Twitter, and I posted that. And I said, it's always funny how the defund the police people love using cops to push their agenda. And it's interesting because if this was a George Floyd protest, they would never call the cops on them, even if it happened at the exact same time. And that really makes you think it's more about what people's motives for gathering were, rather than the actual gatherings themselves. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, what is your political viewpoint from Spada, and that's a poll, and the options were left libertarian, right libertarian, anarchist, anarcho-capitalist, Marxist, or other. I put other. But the final the vote was 18 for left libertarian, 6 for right libertarian, 4 for anarchist, 5 for narco-capitalist, 4 for monarchist, and 16 for other. And I said, I would consider myself, I voted other, I would consider myself a libertarian centrist bordering on anarchist. Then we have GOP Congress critters finally finds an age package they can get behind from Tom 13, and that's the article, U.S. Republicans plan aid package for Russia. That's a satirical article. And I said, this is the DNC version of one joke. They always say Republicans have one joke about, trans people. I think this is kind of the Democratic version of that. It's all Russia, Russia, Russia with them. Then we have U.S. threatens South Africa with sanctions over ICJ case against Israel. Standing against genocide of the Palestinian people makes you subject to economic sanctions from the United States. Israel should be the one that has to deal with economic sanctions, not South Africa. National Deliver 1, a cross post from the Palestine subreddit. And I guess that's, I personally don't think economic sanctions are libertarian. I think they go against free market. But with that being said, I think if people want to sanction whoever they want and have the force to do so, I guess they should be able to. But with that being said, I don't think that's libertarian. I think the libertarian perspective would be a voluntary boycott. Then we have Arizona GOP introduces resolution to declare Trump 2024 winner regardless of the vote from rawstory.com by Clorox, and that's a cross post from the r/law subreddit. Yeah, I don't think that's good. Ultimately, I think people should claim whoever they want to say wins, but ultimately, I think you do need to respect the results of what the vote is. But with that being said, I think that's a good reason why we need open ballots instead of secret ballots, so people can't lie about who they voted for. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Because right now people are always going to say, "Oh, the election was fraudulent" when my major party loses, and that's what I think you'll see regardless of which party loses in 2024. Then we have r/libertarian censor discusses and grades U.S. Vice President's number 46, Dick Cheney, and I said George W. Bush's VP. Cheney was a former representative from Wyoming and the Secretary of Defense under his father, George H.W. Bush. At the time of his election as VP, Cheney was the CEO of the Halliburton Company. During his term as VP, he constantly pushed for war, very unsurprising since he used to work for a military-industrial complex company in Halliburton, such as saying things like Saddam Hussein had ties to Al-Qaeda and Iraq possessed WMDs. He also split with the president on the gay marriage question since his daughter was lesbian, not Liz, his other one, Mary. Like Thomas R. Marshall, he had an assassination attempt during his tenure as VP. Also was probably the first VP since Aaron Burr to shoot another person during his tenure. Final grade D-. And that's my thoughts on him. And I also added, the fact that the U.S. survived back-to-back terms of Bush-led Cheney is proof that you couldn't collapse it even if you tried, in my opinion. Then we have conservative group tells judge it has no evidence to back its claims of Georgia ballot stuffing from APnews.com, from Kage blah blah blah. And I think that's, that's if they don't have anything to if they don't have any claims, I guess that's how it goes. I just still think if people want to believe there was fraud, they should be able to say there's fraud. But ultimately, if you don't have any claims, if you don't have the proof, it's just that's how it is sometimes. Then we have thank you WAPO from Rothmus on Twitter, and I posted that, and that was him linking to a Washington Post headline. In the long run, wars make us safer and richer, and I said the alphabet media can't die off soon enough. And I also added, it's like George Orwell in 1984, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, and I don't think that's very good. Next we have, if you are forced to leave the United States, what are some countries you consider living in? From Skeptical Bob, and they have, what is your top three? I said Argentina has got to be up there with Malay. It's not the best country right now, but I think with Malay and libertarian economics, it might get better and might be one of the best countries in the world. So we'll have to see how that goes. Then we have, people are being mean online is now enough to be a front page news story from the New York Times. And that's a picture I took of the New York Times at work today. And I said it's also work today, and I would share here. It's from the December 14, 2023 issue. And it says, the troll army that wages Trump's meme war. And I added, I don't know if I said anything besides that. But yeah, it just goes to show you that media is just kind of a circle jerk like the rest of the internet is. And I think people are increasingly catching on to them. That's why increasingly no one trusts them anymore. And I think that's why, soon, newspapers like New York Times and cable news like CNN is going to bite the dust. Hopefully sooner rather than later. That's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have bill would ban the sale of cold beer in Tennessee from WKRN.com by Donald Key. And I don't think that's libertarian. I think people should be able to sell whatever they want to as long as they're not hurting anyone else. And I think cold beer isn't hurting anyone else. And then we have Elon Musk demands users stop dead naming Twitter after Stephen King trolls the billionaire from Advocate.com by Bang He, and that's cross-posted in the conservative terrorism subreddit. And I don't think people should be dead naming others, but I think that does fall under free speech. So that's my thought on that issue. Then we have special counsel charges FBI informant with lying to the Bureau about Hunter and Joe Biden from NBCNews.com by Skeptical Bob. And ultimately, it might be a biased special counsel, but we'll have to see if that's true or not. I definitely do think both Joe and Hunter Biden are probably corrupt because they are elites and high-ranking, Joe was a high-ranking government official, and Hunter Biden didn't end up on the board of Burisma, or just at random, and that's my thoughts on that issue. So I think we're gonna wrap up there. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.